Hey, good morning, grace and peace. Welcome to Find the Intersection. My name is Paul Dezay, and this is take number 2. The first one kind of dropped right in the middle. Hey, today is Wednesday, and we're going to get into the book of Acts here in a second. But what we do here is we are studying Scripture, Bible study. And Bible study, reading of Scripture, searching the Scriptures is a grace habit. It is a transformative practice that Christ followers participate in. And what they experience is transformation. They become more like Christ as they open themselves up to the story of God through Scriptures. And so that's what we do. And today is Wednesday, which typically would be Old Testament passage day, but in Eastertide, which is from Easter to Pentecost, we are in the book of Acts, talking about the resurrection life following the resurrection of Jesus. So the context here in the book of Acts, chapter 16, is it's Paul's travels, and Paul is heading in one direction, and then he has a vision, which then he to go somewhere else, and so he switches his course and goes somewhere else, which takes him through Philippi, and which is the city which he meets Lydia and plants a church there. So that's the context. Three things that jumped out to me real quick is, number one, God takes the initiative in calling Christ followers to go where he wants them to go. And so God calls us to go where he wants us to go. And Paul is obedient and follows the vision that God gave him to go to Macedonia. So he switches course. And I believe that he still does that. God calls us today to go where he wants us to go. And we have the choice, free will, to go that way or not. And the question is will we be obedient to that calling to go where he wants us to go even today, whether that to be a particular person, a particular place, to share the good news of Christ. The second thing that jumped out to me was the inclusive gospel that we see in the story of Paul meeting Lydia. So Lydia is a wealthy woman in the city of Philippi. Philippi is named after Philip, which would be Alexander the Great's dad. And it's a military colony where a lot of veterans live. And it doesn't look like there's a synagogue within Philippi, so they meet outside the gates near the river. And this particular group of God-fearers, which would be people, Gentiles, who probably are open to Judaism but haven't formally converted to, are worshiping just women. And that's where Paul goes in. And so there's this inclusiveness of the gospel that God will reach to people of different economic levels. She's rich or wealthy. Typically in Luke and Acts, there is this emphasis upon the poor. So it's both. It's the poor and the rich and everyone in between. The inclusiveness of religious aspects. So you have somebody who is Gentile, not officially Christian or Judaism, a Jewish, that God is reaching to through Paul to Lydia and those women. And finally, the gender. There's this willingness to go to women with the gospel. So the gospel is inclusive. There aren't walls to where the gospel can go. The gospel goes everywhere because it's good news that God has changed the world and he reigns, he's on the throne, and there's this new creation that is being born in the midst of a dying creation. And so the gospel is inclusive. And then the third thing, which is Lydia and her household are baptized, and then she immediately extends hospitality to Paul and his followers. And so there's this linking that you see within the book of Acts between baptism and the conversion to Christianity, becoming part of the Christian community, and hospitality. In other words, when you become a Christian, then you open up your life and your home and whatever resources you have to the gospel. I love this quote I came across in my commentary this morning. It says, baptized households in Acts are not communities of privilege. Rather, they have become communities of hospitality, ready through the practice of welcome and to extend the good news of the gospel to all who visit and beyond. I love that. So those are three things. So what's the next steps? What is the application for me? It goes back to that first point, God's calling in my life. And will I listen today and be obedient to who and where he is sending me, or to whom and to where he is sending me with the good news of Jesus? And I hope that you wrestle with that question today too. So if you would do me a favor and share your thoughts in the comments a couple words, phrases, so I can learn from you. I would appreciate it. This is a community of people who study the Bible together. So that's it today. Hey, I'll be back tomorrow with Psalm 67. And hey, you guys take care. Have a great day. Grace and peace, everyone.